They wouldn't accept that Rome was dead. Rome didn't fall in 476, it split, and one half refused to die. The West collapsed. The last emperor was pushed aside. The city of Rome, once the center of the world, was no longer in Roman hands. But in the East, the empire was still standing, still rich, still powerful, still calling itself Roman. And that's where the real story begins. Because the East didn't see the West as gone, it saw it as stolen. From the golden city of Constantinople, emperors watched as former Roman lands were carved up by new kings, Italy under the Ostrogoths, North Africa under the Vandals, Spain under the Visigoths, Gaul under the Franks. To outsiders, this looked like a new Europe forming. To the East, it looked like a crime scene. The Mediterranean, once a Roman lake, was fractured, Roman law replaced, imperial authority erased, and the longer this went on, the more dangerous it became. Because, well, time changes things. Languages drift, churches divide, loyalties shift. If the East waited too long, the West wouldn't just be lost territory, it would become something else entirely. And Rome was never meant to be something else. Rome was meant to be eternal. Then came a man who believed he could rewind history, Justinian. When he took the throne in 527 AD, he didn't think of himself as emperor of half an empire. He believed he was the emperor of all Rome. And if that was true, then the West wasn't foreign land. It was unfinished business. This wasn't expansion, it was restoration, and Justinian was ready to pay any price. First target, North Africa. In 533 AD, his general Belisarius sailed west with a surprisingly small force. Against the odds, the Vandals collapsed in months. North Africa, gone for nearly a century, was Roman again. The world noticed. Then Justinian aimed at something far more symbolic. Italy, the old heart, the sacred ground. This wouldn't be quick. The Ostrogoths were strong. Italy was unstable, cities were fortified, the Gothic War exploded in 535 AD, and it didn't end for nearly 20 years. 20 years of sieges, starvation, cities changing hands again and again. Rome itself, yes, the city, became a battlefield. The reconquest wasn't glorious, it was brutal. Fields burned, aqueducts shattered, populations collapsed. Italy was liberated into ruin. But in the end, the East won. North Africa reclaimed, Italy reclaimed, parts of Spain reclaimed. For a brief shining moment, the Mediterranean was almost Roman again. Almost. But here's the twist. Winning nearly destroyed them. The wars drained the treasury, the army was exhausted, and then, disaster, the plague. A pandemic ripped through the empire during Justinian's reign. Millions died, cities emptied, taxes vanished. And while the East was busy rebuilding the West, new enemies gathered. Persia in the east, Slavic and Bulgar tribes pressing into the Balkans. The empire was stretching itself across 3 continents, and stretched empires snap. So why did the East try to reconquer the West? Because it believed it had no choice. The Eastern Empire didn't call itself Byzantine. That name came later. They were Romans. If they accepted the West was permanently gone, they were admitting something terrifying. That Rome could die. And if Rome could die, what were they? Just another kingdom waiting for its turn to fall? No. They refused that future. The reconquest wasn't just about land, it was about identity, it was about legitimacy, it was about proving that 476 wasn't the end of the story. And here's the irony. By trying to restore the past, they weakened their future. Within a century, massive new forces reshaped the Mediterranean forever. The Arab conquest swept through Roman territories. North Africa, won with blood, was gone again. The Mediterranean was no longer Roman, it was contested, fragmented, changed beyond recognition, and the empire would never attempt such a massive Western reconquest again. They had learned something the hard way. You can conquer land, you cannot conquer time. But here's what makes this story powerful. The East didn't collapse in 476. It survived for nearly 1,000 more years, through invasions, through crusades, through betrayals, until 1453. Almost a millennium after the West fell. So, maybe Justinian didn't fail. Maybe the reconquest was never about permanently holding the West. Maybe it was about sending a message. Rome does not disappear quietly. Even shattered empires can fight back. Even after collapse, they can dream of wholeness. When the East marched west, it wasn't chasing territory. It was chasing a memory, a golden age, a united world under one eagle. For a moment, they almost had it. But history doesn't move backward, it moves forward, whether empires are ready or not. And that's the real question buried in this story. When something breaks, do you rebuild it exactly as it was? Or do you accept that the world has already changed? The Eastern Empire chose to fight the past, and in doing so, it reshaped the future, not by restoring Rome, but by proving how far an empire will go to keep a dream alive.